Albert Einstein once said, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it is always going to feel stupid. She was a bright student from the very beginning, but was forced to do something which she did not love. And when you do something that you do not love, you never excel at it. But over a period of time, she ultimately discovered what her real calling was, and the rest, they say, is history. This is the story of traveling the road less traveled. This is the story of doing what you really love. This is the story of Aradhya Vats, an ex-Google triple gold medalist from IIM Indore, winner of Times of India Student of the Year award. She has also received offers from two major firms as consultant from PwC and as strategist from OnePlus. So here is Speak with GRV in conversation with Aradhya Vats. Hello to all the viewers. My name is Gaurav Singh. I am the host of the show Speak with GRV, and today I have another special guest with me. Now, one reason that makes her really special is that she's the first female guest on our show. So, welcome Aradhya. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for giving your time.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Aradhya, normally what happens is when we start the conversation, we talk about the early part of life of a guest, and then the career highlight comes. But in your case, what happened was, as I was, reading your story, during your preparation days, that actually point came. So, can you just tell us, from where you did your schooling and your early days?
Sure, absolutely. So, I'm from Kanpur, UP, and my school is called Dr. Virendra Swaroop Education Center, Awadhpuri. And actually, I was a teacher's ward. Interestingly, my mother also teaches in the same school.
Okay.
And so I did my studies from there. And in class 11th, we had the school has only two streams, science and commerce. So we have to choose one of the two after we pass class 10. Academically, it's one of the best schools, one of the top ranked schools in India as far as the board result is concerned. ICSC as well as ISC. So I'm from ICSC board.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just basic info about my school. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and then when did the phase came when you decided, okay, I want to prepare for IIT JEE exams?
So that's a story. So I come from a middle class family, and for any middle class child in India, the way the way up, social mobility, we can say it. So the way up the ladder is through academics. So right. Academics is the tool which can, give you a better life than what your parents had. It is something your parents wish for you. So in my case, what happened, call it, anchoring bias. So the place where we live, we're all surrounded with IIT JEE coachings and everything. And we hear cases in the newspaper of children getting top ranks from Kanpur. And Kanpur also has an IIT Kanpur. I've been there a few times. Yeah. So as a kid, when I went to IIT Kanpur and I saw how beautiful it is, and Kanpur and IIT Kanpur are like two different worlds. And I had never seen a college before. Before I went to IIM Indore, IIT Kanpur was the only college I had seen. So I was pretty amazed, and I was like, oh yes, I want to be here. So everyone around me was preparing for IIT JEE. Also, I'll tell you how my family started, asking me to prepare for JEE. So the thing is that the case is that in our family also, some of our relatives who are doing really well with their lives financially as well as otherwise are engineers. Right. And they also did engineering. So my parents believe that engineering is the way, it is the safest way ahead. and it can take you places, it can get you a well settled, a good life. So they since a very young age, they started telling me that, you know what, you can try and crack IIT when you grow up. So and then I saw this college, this amazing college, and I was like, yeah, definitely I want to be here. Since I was good in academics, everybody hoped that I would really get into an IIT. So I've always loved studying. I really loved going to school and I loved studying. And I'm a little upset that my formal education is over now, although I aim to keep on learning forever. But so I was great at academics, and I was always one of the rank holders in my class. So it was very natural of them to expect me to, be one of those people whose photo appears in the newspapers, and the photos of those kids are put on billboards, and the ones who crack IIT JEE. So it was just this environment, the society, the societal mindset that
and by default by default the mindset is that if you're really intelligent, a child is intelligent, so either he goes to engineering or he goes to medical. Those still, even in today's times, those are the two options that still hold priority for a lot of parents. For students it's a different thing, because new career options have opened up. So even in your case, and reason being you were academically so sound, by default engineering was the profession that you were going to get into.
So that's the story. That's how I just almost unconsciously took science and started preparing for IIT JEE. I didn't even I didn't even consider any other option, and neither did I have knowledge of a lot of options. I didn't, and neither did my family. So the environment sort of fostered me to start preparing for JEE very naturally.
And you prepared for JEE for 3 continuous years, right? So what happened each year, and then what's that story?
Okay, so so as I entered class 11, so I joined a coaching, like almost every kid in my school. I joined a coaching for IIT JEE, and my parents paid a lump sum fee for the 2 years, 11th and 12th. Now, when I entered class 11th and I started going to this coaching and I started studying in school, I realized that I'm not really loving it. I'm not really enjoying it as I have enjoyed academics till now. Till class 10th, as I said, I loved studying and I loved academics. But in class 11, something changed. I realized this is not normal. This is not me. I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. So, but we had paid a lump sum fee, and everybody around me wanted me to get into IIT. Even my teachers, not just my family, even my teachers expected me to be an IITian because I was good in studies. But something happened in class 11. There was a career counseling session in our school. So a career counselor had come from outside, and he took a session where he mostly discussed law. The reason is because he ran a coaching for law entrance examinations. So he said, like, he mostly discussed law. He did maybe elaborate on some other career options, but I really found the exam preparation for law, I found it very interesting. It had GK, it had English, it had a little bit of maths, and I felt like I would really enjoy doing this. So I stayed back after the session was over to talk to him personally, tell him about my situation, that, sir, I'm already doing an IIT JEE coaching, what to do now? So I stayed back to ask him all of this. And my mother, because as I told you, I was a teacher's ward, she was there in the school at that time. So when I stayed back to ask all of these questions, other teachers told her that your girl is asking such questions to the counselor. So how did everybody view it? Everybody viewed it like as if I had gotten distracted, as if I was going in Hindi. I can say path bhrasht, मतलब IIT से अगर हटे तो
किसी ने दिमाग खराब कर दिया, brain wash कर दिया है, that sort of a thing.
Yeah, they feared for me that I might get deviated, I might digress from my path to JEE. So my mother came up rushing and she said, Aradhya, go to your class. No need to ask anything. And I'm like, no, I really have to know and stuff. Nothing came out of that meeting, but that stayed with me, that law preparation thing and all these fascinating subjects that we study for when we prepare for CLAT, all of that stayed in my subconscious. This was 11th. In the coaching, I was an okay student. So after the year ended, there was a parent teacher.
Aradhya, I'll ask you. So because you mentioned that you always loved studying, being in the rank holders, but in coaching started to happen that because you were not liking it, so you were being just normal, going with the flow, that sort of a thing was happening.
Yes. So that's why my performance was average. Okay. And so there was a parent teachers meeting at the end of the year, and my teachers told my parents that she's fine, but she needs to buck up. If she has to crack JEE, she has to ramp up her efforts. So class 12 began on a note that I have to ramp up my efforts. But my performance dipped. In class 12, I was a below average student in the coaching. I didn't find the concepts interesting. Even I didn't find the teachers that great who taught us in class 12.
Okay.
Whatever be the reason, I'll introduce one more variable here that I didn't discuss before when I wrote this story as a LinkedIn post through which we met. So I something that I did not mention over there was I actually fell ill in class 12. I had some health issues. The reason I didn't write it over there because it would have been a little complicated for the Janta, a lot of things at play at once. But here I can take the liberty of discussing it with you. So I fell ill in class 12. There was some health issue and I underwent treatment.
Oh.
It was a little heavy treatment, as in heavy dosage of antibiotics and all of that. So I did not realize it at that time. Later on, when I look back, I realized the dosage and the treatment, it made me a little weak, and I was not able to concentrate a lot in class, and I used to get tired very often, so I could not study when I came home. This went on for some time, like a month or two, and my performance dipped like anything. Like I was among maybe the last rankers in my coaching class. So this happened, and then I felt very sad about it. My parents were very sad, and I got better.
Right, in this situation, I would so like to ask a question. So for someone who was a rank holder, who was doing really good, among the toppers in the class, and who enjoyed studying, now was a phase in during IIT preparation where you're getting low marks, your confidence is getting down because you're not liking it. You want to do it, but there is not that natural inclination. So in that time, what was going through your mind?
At that time, what was going through my mind was I had always dreamt a bright career for myself. I had always dreamt into getting in. I had always dreamt of getting into a really nice college, a really prestigious college, and now I could see my dreams going down the drain. I knew I was not going to get into IIT. I knew it. And neither NIT. I was not expecting to get into any decent engineering college. I could see that in front of my eyes, and it made me very upset. Those were stressful times. Those were not so good times. So in class 12, I got better because of the treatment. But the problem was that the illness, I wouldn't name it here, but it actually really doesn't have a cure. So it used to reoccur, like resurface after a few months.
Right.
So all of this went on till like almost the whole year, the whole class 12. So it had become abundantly clear to me that I was not going to get into any decent college. So I thought, let's focus on boards. Because I'm not going to get a second shot at boards. I might get a second shot at JEE,
Right.
but not boards. So I did my best. Thankfully, I got decent marks in board exams, and understandably, I did not get into any government engineering college. At least I can say that.
Okay.
Now, class 12th has ended now, and I really don't want to take up engineering again. I know it in my heart that it's not for me. I mean, I don't like doing it. I don't like studying so much of maths, physics, and chemistry at once. I liked maths. I really liked maths, physics, and chemistry, all three, till class 10th, when they were in conjunction with social sciences, languages, computers. When they were in conjunction with all those things, I loved studying them. But a single dosage of PCM, which is so which is so strong, it was a little hard for me to take in.
Yeah, you have also
So-
mentioned that you liked science, but you did not love it enough to to continue with engineering.
Yeah, because if somebody loves to do something, they can do it anytime. They can do it non-stop. They can do it
You
for
don't have to tell
as
them.
many number of things. Yeah.
You don't have to tell
Pardon?
them to do it.
Yeah, exactly. It comes so naturally to us, right? It's something that we like doing. So studying PCM for 2 years had made it very clear to me that I did not like it. I had an inclination since the start, as I told you in class 11th, that this is not something that I'm enjoying. So class 12th ended, and I did not want to. I didn't want to get into engineering again. I was very I was very passionate about debating, and I was one of the best debaters in my school till class 12. So I requested my parents to let me do mass communication, because it involves a lot of speaking and writing, and I like all these things very much. But that was not encouraged, and against my will, I had to take a drop in the third year.
Okay.
Now the third year began, and the illness, as I said, it kept on recurring, and it continued. It continued throughout the third year. This is 2014. I passed class 12th in 2014. So we are in 2014, and in December 2014, I went for surgery to get rid of the illness.
Okay.
And everything. So I went into surgery, and I was discharged on 31st December 2014. Then I came back home. It took me 15 days to recover. So Jan 15 was the day I told my family that I'm not going to do engineering anymore. Now, I don't know what exactly it was that gave me the courage, but maybe the whole experience with the surgery and the hospital and 15 days of recuperating made me realize that this is not worth it. What I'm doing and what it is doing to me, it's not worth it. As in, I need to start treating myself better. I need to start doing what I wish to, what I love. So that was my wake-up call, and that was not my wake-up call. I had woken up, but that gave me the courage to actually, defy everybody I loved, everybody I respected, my teachers, my friends, my family. So that is what, that was my sort of my breaking point. And that made me...
Then when you told your parents, that you don't want to do engineering anymore, and your parents, your mother being a teacher, and they wanted you to become an engineer, then what was the reaction? Because this time you were determined that you will not take no for an answer.
Exactly. So everybody in the world was against me except my mother. She stood by me like anything. I don't know how that happened. but I'm really grateful. I'm very thankful to her for being with me in that moment, in those times. Since I was at home and I didn't take any coaching in third year, I did an online distance learning thing, but I did not take a physical coaching. And so I was at home. So I wasn't at school. So there were no teachers to pressure me, number one. And there weren't even a lot of friends or other peers who would, again talk me into preparing for JEE. So nothing of that sort was possible. So the only people I had around was my family.
Right.
And in my family, as I said, I had my mother's support. My relatives were very concerned. They used to call up my parents and ask them to talk some sense into me, and just they used to try to persuade me to continue with JEE. And the sentence they used to say was, "You have done it for 3 years. What is the point of leaving it 3 months before the exam? Okay, if not an IIT, you will at least get an NIT because we know you're good. So you will at least get an NIT. Just go for it. What is the point of leaving it 3 months before the exam?" So JEE mains was April 7th, I remember, and all of this is January. So, but in my heart, I knew I was not getting an NIT. I was not getting anything. I knew it. So, yeah.
And this is a problem with almost all the relatives. I think not only in India, across the world also, they take a lot of interest, on what's happening with others rather than, minding their own business. But that's okay. They are also well-wishers and they, try to think good of you.
Yeah.
Then what happened when you decided to do?
My relatives were like only thinking the best for me. But since they were not with me, so I couldn't really explain myself to them.
Exactly.
Anyways, so what happened? Then I decided I won't do engineering. So what to do now? I remembered that career counseling session and I thought maybe let me solve some mock papers online. So I solved previous year's CLAT papers and I got a good score. I mean, I was just above the cutoff. So I thought if I can do this much without any preparation, and if I prepare for 3 months, I might do even better and get into a decent law college. So why not? Let's go for it.
Okay.
So I decided that I'll do this, and I arranged books. I borrowed books from my friends, ordered a few other books, and by 30th Jan, I had everything, all the preparatory material that I needed. So it was just up to me to start working from then on. And all the law exams were in May, between 1st to 15th May. I filled for 3. I applied for 3 law exams, but the problem was that the seats were very limited. So it is a fact that in law exams, the seats are very limited in good colleges. So NLU Delhi has an exam, ALET, which has 90 seats. Then BHU has 60 seats. And CLAT has roughly 1,500 to 2,000 seats, but then a lot of competition. So I had 3 months, February, March, April, and I knew that there is a good chance I won't get anywhere. So let me do one thing. Let me try to diversify a little. Then I came across this brochure in my mama's purse. It was a career options, career counseling, some brochure which mentioned this IPM exam from IIM Indore. And I thought, since I'm already preparing English and maths and verbal ability and all those aptitude questions for CLAT, then why not appear for this exam as well? Because the syllabus is same. I don't have to do any extra preparation, and it will help me diversify my options. Because in any case, the seats are limited, it's a huge risk, and there is a good chance I'm not getting anywhere with 3 months of preparation for something that people take years to prepare, for something that people join coachings for, right? There are proper coachings for CLAT and everything. So obviously I didn't have any coaching or anything. So I thought, okay, let's diversify our options. So I filled for this IPM exam also. So I had a total of 4 exams, 1 IPM and 3 law exams, all between 1st to 15th May in Delhi. So the center for all of them was Delhi, so I had to go there. Now I would like to shed a little light on how those 3 months were for me.
Yeah, exactly.
February, March, and April. Yeah. So I imagined that these months are going to be very difficult because I have to do everything on my own and I don't have a lot of support. So it's going to be very difficult for me. But the moment I started my preparation, it felt so good. It felt good because after a very long time, I felt like I was learning something every day. Like if I did one chapter, something actually went into my head. I actually gained some knowledge. This feeling was last experienced by me in class 10th.
Okay.
After that, in class 11th, 12th, and this drop year, I did not experience this good feeling of learning something. I think this feeling is what made me love academics. Maybe this was the reason behind me loving academics, because when I studied something and I really was able to grasp it and absorb it, it gave me a lot of satisfaction. It gave me a lot of happiness. So I started working, preparing, and nothing in the world bothered me. I mean, life was beautiful. And this was such
during this preparation, so there was a time when you were preparing for IIT JEE, you had the family support, everybody's around you, guiding you, you should do this, do that. Now you're doing things of your own, your family is a bit against you, so mentally that does play in your mind. But because you loved doing what you were doing, so that did not actually matter. So I think this is something that somebody who's listening to it can take a lesson out of it or a value out of it, that if and this is not just for movies or inspirational stuff. When you actually do what you love, no, you don't need anybody to tell you. You are going to sit there and you are going to do it even when nobody is watching. So I think that is something that is really great that you did. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah, so life was beautiful, and this was such an eye opener for me because I didn't know this was possible. I mean, yeah, this something like this had obviously not happened with me before. Like me defying people I love, defying people I respect, and then doing something on my own. I was always a very loved child because I was good in studies. So my parents loved me, my teachers loved me, my juniors loved me, my seniors loved me. I mean, I had it very easy in school. I had a very good time. I used to do a lot of extracurriculars as well as study. So, I mean, principal ma'am loved me, for God's sake. I mean, I was like everybody's darling, and I had it very easy in school. But what I was going through was very new, and I thought I'll have to struggle a lot in these 3 months. But no, I mean, they were as smooth as a cake, and I loved preparing, and I loved preparing so much that I said to myself, even if I don't get into any of these colleges, even if I'm not able to crack any of these exams, I'll be very happy I took this decision. I will never regret it, and I will never mind spending those 3 months the way I did. So, I mean, I was so happy within, and very calm, like with a very calm head, I went to Delhi with one of my relatives, and I gave all the exams. On 20th May, the first result came out. It was CLAT, and I had made it. Like I had got an AIR 1387, which is decent.
Okay.
So
and
that was the day.
You did this in 3 months. You did this in 3 months, which people take almost an year to prepare. People take coaching to prepare, and the reason being because you loved doing it, right? So there was no time constraint that you have to force yourself ki aaj itna padhna hai, aaj utna padhna hai. Obviously the strategy would have been there, but because you liked it. So then what happened? You got into CLAT, and then IIM Indore started.
IIM Indore came very late actually. So first there was CLAT, and everybody was rejoicing. My family, everybody was very happy for me, and things started getting like really good again.
Did
on
your
the family front.
did your relatives call you to wish you?
Definitely. Everybody was very happy. Everybody congratulated me, and so this was 20th May was CLAT, and then the counseling began. So I was busy in this CLAT counseling when I got the interview offer for IIM Indore. So it's a two-stage process. You have a written exam, and then you have an interview. It's more like CAT,
Okay.
interview and written ability test, essay, and all that is there. So that was in June. So my papa took me to Delhi for the interview. That went great. And by the end of June, they declared results that I had been given a provisional admission offer in IIM Indore. And it was in the end of June only that BHU results came out. And BHU, surprisingly, BHU was the exam I least expected to crack because there were only 60 seats all over India. I mean,
You cracked that
reservation included. Yeah, I got AIR 47 and I was blown away. I think a lot of
we will I think we'll have to do a separate session of how do you actually prepare for exams, because this is absolutely wonderful.
I wasn't expecting. So by a lot of luck and God's grace, I think I got BHU. But anyways, by then IIM Indore result was out, and it was so after all of this happened, I went to their website. Actually, I went to every college's website. I got NLU Ranchi through CLAT, and there was BHU, and there was IIM Indore. So I went to their website and I saw their curriculum. What will I study if I go there? How will the curriculum look like? So in the law colleges, it was obviously like in the first semester, for example, we have criminal law and international law. In the second semester, we have civil law, torts. So this was as far as the law colleges were concerned. Coming to IIM Indore, the first semester looked like I'll tell you. First semester was like sports, German, and statistics, economics, sociology, psychology, math, and there was this performing arts, dance, music. So I was like, this is the place where I have to be. I mean, I will really love it over there. So without a doubt, it was IIM Indore that I was choosing, and it was the most expensive option. It's a little expensive, but still. Now that life had given me this lesson of always following my heart and always doing what I enjoy, now nothing could really change my mind. The finances didn't matter. Nothing else mattered. I knew it was going to be IIM Indore because this is what I think I will like. So this is what I think I'm going to do, and I want to stay like this all my life. Choosing, making decisions about and choosing to do things that I like, not withstanding any other constraint that I have been given.
So when you were in IIM, that's a combined course, right? You did it for 5 years. So that was BBA and then followed by MBA.
Yeah. No, it was not BBA per se. It was BA Foundations in Management. It's a very unique thing. It's very different from BBA actually. Yeah.
Okay, that was more of like a base for MBA.
Exactly. So no marketing, operations, nothing MBA like was there in the first 3 years. It was purely like I said, economics, statistics, math, sociology, psychology, history, political science, ethics, culture study, language, communication, debating, business etiquettes, and what else? Computer programming, actually. One computer programming subject every semester. So this was like, us trying to inculcate every relevant skill that a manager would require in their career. And also building a very strong base for an MBA at the same time.
Right. Now, when your MBA started, you had also co-founded Sweet and Spice Ventures. So how did you get into entrepreneurship? How did that happen? Tell us about that.
So So when I got into IIM Indore, I didn't really know what are the jobs we get after we do this MBA. I didn't know what is investment banking. I didn't know what is marketing. But yeah, so I took IIM Indore basically because of the curriculum, because I saw that the curriculum is so good that I'm going to enjoy every day of being there. That's why I took IIM Indore. But I had no idea about the jobs and everything. And I remember in those days, entrepreneurship was very hot. It is even today.
Yeah.
But in those times, a lot of startups were, springing up all around the country, and all of this, the startup culture was, gaining ground like anything. So I had this thing in me that I should give this a try. I just had a gut feeling that I should give entrepreneurship a try. And it so happened that I love pani puri. I used to have pani puri every day when I was here in Kanpur at home. But when I went to college, there was no pani puri, and there were different food courts, there were different food outlets. Chinese and stuff was available, but no pani puri. And our campus is like 20 kilometers from the city. So it's very time consuming and difficult to go to the city every time you want to have something different. So
Right.
I used to miss pani puri a lot in campus. Uh, but then I used to think that pani puri is a North Indian thing. Then what I did was, so I along with a batchmate of mine, so there was this friend I had, and I just asked him, will you be interested in opening up a pani puri stall in campus, because we don't have pani puri over here. And he's like, yeah, cool, let's do it. So what we did, we first conducted a survey.
Okay.
It was an online survey, plus we also asked a few people around, some personal interviews. And we got to know through that survey that pani puri is not just a North Indian thing, it's a general Indian favorite. And I did not know that people from the south also loved pani puri, and people from other parts of the country also loved it, and they missed it in campus. So then there was a clear demand, and there was a clear demand supply gap. So we just threw our hats in the ring, and we started this pani puri venture. It began with like one employee. We used to have one bhaiya who used to come and prepare pani puri. It took 5 months to materialize all of this. So from the ideation to the launch, it took 5 months, getting all permissions from the institute, searching for that bhaiya, getting that bhaiya, and then getting his character certification from the police department, and then submitting it to the institute, and getting all the raw materials, like choosing the suppliers, looking for suppliers in the first place, and then deciding who to go with. All of this took 5 months to materialize, and then we started our pani puri venture. Initially it was a very temporary setup, just one table that we had taken from the mess, and some stuff that we bought, some containers and stuff that we bought, and then we started. Initially we were not making any profits, but it took some time, but then later on it became profitable, and then we expanded, sort of. We diversified, we started selling more items, and then the institute saw that we were doing really well, so they gave us a permanent shop in the campus food court. So then we had a permanent establishment, and so this went on for 2 years. And by the time it ended, by the time we shut Sweet and Spice, we had 6 employees and around 64 items in our menu. So we used to give Chinese and Indian main course and all, kebabs and chicken tandoori and everything.
You did not pass it on, you have closed it as of now.
Actually, the institute policy was altered, and they started giving out tenders in the food court to commercial establishment. So the administrative policy was changed, and from then onwards they started inviting commercial establishments like Nescafe, Amul. They came up and they opened in the food court. So we did not satisfy the conditions for the tender that they had floated. So that's why we had to shut.
During this, the business venture that you did. This was your first business venture, right? Learning the
Yeah.
entrepreneurship thing. So what did you actually learn? Because when you are an MBA, we do a lot of case studies. We study how businesses have started, what strategies to apply. But when you go on ground and even to set up something which might seem as small as a pani puri shop, how much effort did it take you? And what were those learnings?